fat acids as well, and others. So from that point, from that point you see that there is an influence that can exist by adding yeast. So what we've done is we've done a lot of fermentations in the past. I told you, the past 5 to 6 years. So and of course with that, at the end of the day, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So we need to taste the coffees and see whether they do what we say they do. So this, after my talk, it's going to be really, I'm shaking because I would like to hear your opinion. But anyway, here we did, these are all different strains that so when we will obviously look at what we're trying to achieve. We have a huge selection of database of yeast, or a collection, and then we look at those were obviously selected from the environment. We don't play with GMOs, so I need to say that now. So there are no GMOs that we're putting out there, and it's naturally selected yeast that we use, and we look at their positive attributes, and based on that we will either use them or not. And for coffee, so for example here, just to give you an example, you have certain, this is a strain that is really looking good. Imagine if the control is at 78 and that one is giving you a cup quality of 82. That is a huge jump, which is interesting. And L5 is also doing the same, L7. So at the end of the day, we would look at this and decide, okay, this is one of the way we would choose at the end of the day, the strain that we'll say we'll go with. If a strain consistently probably does not deliver in this manner, we're not going to necessarily push it on further to use it for this application. This was trials that were done in Laos, and these are results that were really observed by the farm. And so they also found that, here the control, and then we have these are commercialized strains and these are not necessarily, but there you go. So that is a potentially good strain that has come out really well, probably performing better than what is being commercialized. And then these are results in Tanzania. These are the comments from the grower. A very easy washing step, so there you go. And parchment looks more clean, and the smell of coffee is also better. For that farmer, it was better. This results from Mexico, and again we do have, okay, this was with Robusta and with Arabica. We have, with Robusta, there's really, it's an interesting observation, but with Robusta we see a huge variation after fermentation, obviously, and a jump in the quality of the product. So yeah, to get to 80, that is amazing, but most of the results we've gotten, which I'll show you later, it's a huge jump. You get about 10 points, but probably not necessarily getting to the 80. So that is, if it's not above 80 Robusta, I guess it's not fine Robusta. So it's going to be a bit tricky for anyone to want to inoculate and do all that for the mass market. So probably not. But for those that are looking for something different, that would be an opportunity. And for Arabica, mostly good quality anyway, in general, and really raising that by 2 or 3 points is a great achievement. So that's where you also see the variation being a bit less, which is saying that, there's already a lot of good work that is going on in there. So the yeast is offering you an opportunity to probably diversify and probably have some different flavors, which you will notice. It might not be better than the control, but it will be different. And really, that's what the exercise for today is. It's about really showing you the impact of yeast, the different possibilities that can exist. In some cases, they can be not that great. In some cases, they can be better. In some, So it's a tool that one has got at their disposal. That's India. Also, they did trials, Arabica and Robusta. Again, you see when you're doing Robusta, you see huge jumps in your scores, whereas with Arabica, it's 2 to 3, sometimes 4. Just to show you, okay, these are, okay, fermentation in coffee, you know, it happens in the origin, so it's not unlike in wine where, you know, wines have been fermented for more than 4 decades now with inoculation. And really, when you're looking at coffee, the challenge is that you are working in the most basic conditions. And so most people don't have the tanks that have got controlled temperature and all. So you've got, if you have a cement tank, concrete tank like the one in there, you are lucky. And if you can stop the water from going out, then at least you can use that, because you just cover your cherries with the water and then you inoculate, and you leave it for a certain number of hours to allow the fermentation to continue before you wash it. And some people, depending on the lot size, of course, they do some really small fermentations. These were trials in buckets. And these were trials in Laos. Later on, you're going to taste this trial, I think. It's a 2017 coffee, so we are now at the end of, it's almost a year old. So when you taste it, bear that in mind. It's not a very fresh coffee. This is just, this was dry process, okay? I've got 2 slides to go on this. So dry process, the point I want to make here is that we do notice an improvement in quality when we add yeast compared to the control. There you go. So if you just look at the total score, so we do improve, you know, a lot of different aspects, your flavor, your aftertaste and all, clean cups. Okay, I'm not going to go into detail with that. Wet process on Robusta, so there you go. They talked about having a cleaner parchment, so compare those ones. No inoculation and inoculation. And this was done, yeah, this was done in Vietnam. Okay. They did improve their coffee quality though, so, which was good.
Excuse me, was it generally or was it specific attributes in the coffee that improved in the Robusta?
It's generally, yes. Yeah, in fact I removed some of the results on the Robusta, which was really, I mean, it's amazing. It's general, it's overall that you see a huge improvement, and on the aromas as well, the acidity. So it's really, it's amazing. We still want to do more work on that, obviously, and using the different applications. So I don't know if anyone has got further questions. There's one that just came up, but if you've got, yes.
How much yeast do you need to use to overwhelm the indigenous population?
So 1 gram of yeast, you're going to have that 10 to the 7 cells, which is 10 billion cells. So 1 gram of yeast, so we are saying inoculate 1 gram of yeast into a kg of pulped cherry. So when you've got a 500 gram sachet, you are going to be inoculating half a ton of pulped cherry. So really, it's so you need very little because we grow those cells and we really concentrate them to a point where when you put that gram or that teaspoon, I mean, you have many cells that are active.
If Saccharomyces use sugar as fuel, then what do non-Saccharomyces use as fuel?
They can also use sugar, but they can also use acids and other things that are in existence in your, but basically if it's a fermentation, they can also use those same sugars. So they're competing. They're competing. It's just that the one is more powerful and it's got more affinity for that sugar, so it will eat that faster than the other. Bacteria also eat the sugar, so if you've got sugar, they are going to grow as well. Yes?
Have you any idea how much yeast is on exported green coffee that we get from Oregon?
Oh, no, I don't. I would be lying. I mean, how much yeast? I mean, you have yeast. I mean, already there's yeast on every green coffee.
Yeah.
The question is how much inoculated yeast, is that what you're asking me? You know, in terms of commercially inoculated.
No, I'm wondering if you have, let's say, a vacuum-packed brick of
Yes.
green coffee,
Yes.
and you have a certain moisture content, and if you have some yeast in there, how can that change during a season where you store the coffee?
Ah, okay. By that time, you don't have enough sugars. Yeast is not going to continue to have activity, but you might, if you have sugar at that point, you're probably going to have some bacteria in there that are going to work on that, and that is not good for your coffee.
Okay, I think we need to move on to the cupping.
The cupping? Okay.
Yep.
So the cupping, I'm not going to give you too much information because I would like you to have an open mind. The first 3 coffees are going to be in different orders. Obviously, you've got from Burundi, and then the other coffees after that, they are from Nicaragua. Different treatments such as contact time with fermentation, and different yeasts as well. So enjoy it, and if you've got questions, probably we can discuss.